Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. Tax season is almost over, but that means the deadline for those who haven't filed their taxes yet is only days away. Bureau of Internal Revenue Director Marvin Pickering spoke to News 2 and spoke of a change in deadline as well as tips for last-minute filers. News 2's April Knight has details.
Bureau of Internal Revenue offices across the territory are busier than usual this week as last-minute tax filers pour in to file their 2015 income tax returns. But for those who aren't quite ready, here's some good news. The tax deadline has been pushed back by another business day.
So this year, the filing date has been extended to April 18th. And on that day, the Bureau's offices throughout the Virgin Islands will be open from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m.
BIR Director Marvin Pickering urges taxpayers to always review their documents before filing so they can avoid errors that normally cause delays in processing. One of the most common mistakes is not signing your tax return.
And it's imperative that the tax return is signed because it is not processable if it is not signed.
Another common error is using incorrect Social Security numbers and names on tax returns not matching those on Social Security cards.
Those Social Security numbers must be for the taxpayer, the spouse if they're filing a joint return, and all the dependents.
Using the physical instead of the mailing address is also a problem. Director Pickering reminds taxpayers that online filing is not available in the Virgin Islands, and residents should take advantage of the extended filing dates and business hours at your local BIR offices. Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
Now, make sure to tune in to News 2. We'll have more from Director Pickering on correctly filing tax returns in later newscasts. Senate Vice President Jeanette Millen-Young called on Virgin Islanders to take note of the work that must be done to close the wage gap between men and women and reiterated her strong stance to level the playing field. The statements were made in recognition of Equal Pay Day, celebrated this week, recognized as the day millions of people observe the gap. She said 7 years ago, the first piece of legislation President Obama signed into law was the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act. He recognized that it was the right thing to do, she said, and she said her legislation to create a Paycheck Fairness Act in the territory will ensure that we capture this momentum. Well, a development in on Zika in the territory, the Virgin Islands Department of Health has confirmed the Virgin Islands' first confirmed case of Zika in a pregnant woman. This is the 14th case of Zika in the territory, and it's on St. Croix. According to the department, the woman had no travel history, so the virus must have been contracted locally. The patient was 34 weeks pregnant when she was tested for Zika. She has since delivered a healthy baby with normal head circumference, showing no signs of microcephaly. The health department, however, will continue to monitor the condition of both mother and the infant over the next several weeks. Zika has been confirmed to be transmitted sexually, and the CDC now recommends that pregnant women should either use condoms during sexual intercourse or should not have sex during the pregnancy. The Virgin Islands University Center for Excellence in Developmental Disabilities will hold the grand opening for its Autism and Developmental Disabilities Research Center from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on April 15th at the VIU Center on Albert Sheen campus on St. Croix. The ADDRC is a research, training, and technical assistance center that focuses on early screening and detection of developmental disabilities. Dr. Kimberly Mills, Associate Director of VIU, said played a key role in bringing the ADDRC to the Virgin Islands. She has been involved in the research in helping children with learning disabilities. Mills is hopeful that ADDRC and the UVI School of Education will develop a strong relationship. The Government Services, Consumers and Veterans Affairs Committee met today in Otley Legislative Hall in St. Thomas to consider a bill relating to traffic fines and a bill enacting the Virgin Islands Public Officials Compensation Act. And the Department of Licensing and Consumer Affairs addressed the committee about fuel and food food costs in the territory. They also addressed issues regarding Vendors Plaza. Meanwhile, a rezoning request by the Moravian Church on St. John is getting mixed reactions from the community and from lawmakers. The Moravian Church VI Conference, in partnership with T-Rex St. John, is proposing to develop a mixed-use project. It would have a hotel or resort with 89 units, a wet slip, a dry dock storage marina, as well as a village green with baseball, tennis, and basketball courts. While residents didn't object outright to that project, they did want to limit its use and make sure it does not have a negative impact on existing infrastructure and views. Caught on 2 to keep you updated. The Barren Spot Homeowners Association, in conjunction with Commissioner Pedro Cruz of the Virgin Islands Department of Sports, Parks and Recreation, they will be hosting a town hall meeting for residents of Estate Barren Spot. That's on Sunday, April 17th at 3 p.m. The meeting, to be held at the Marion Hall on the campus of St. Anne's Catholic Church, will present the proposed plans for the community center. Residents are encouraged to attend the meeting to show their support, as well as ask pertinent and necessary questions of Commissioner Cruz and the association's president, Victor Brown. Over the next few days, St. Croix is hosting more than 30 planes and their pilots for the largest aviation event in the territory thus far, the 2016 Caribbean Air Rally. In spite of some showers on the Big Island Wednesday morning, most of those planes started coming in, and they were met with a warm Crucian welcome. NEWS2's April Knight has more.
The skies over St. Croix were filled with activity on Wednesday, and it's not the cranky weather. The island hosted the largest aviation air rally in the region.
34 airplanes, 81 people. We're really excited to welcome them here because it's an international air rally, so the whole world is going to hear about St. Croix and what a wonderful destination we are.
The Caribbean Air Rally has been running for 7 years, but it's the first time it was held on the Big Island, thanks to the efforts of the Department of Tourism and Bulky International Airways. The participating aviators come in from various countries.
And mind you, everyone here owns their own aircraft, and they are passionate aviators and very excited to be flying in the Caribbean.
According to Bulky liaison Fiona Horn, they'll be experiencing something unique on St. Croix.
What's unique about our airport here at Henry E. Rolston is a 10,000-foot runway, world-class facilities.
And the Caribbean Air Rally is not just about planes in the air. It's also about helping young aspiring aviators reach for the skies.
Bulky has actually sponsored a young Haitian pilot, the only female pilot in Haiti, and she's joined the air rally and she's travelling through and increasing her skills. And we also have youth outreach happening here with the Tuskegee Airmen chapter, the Virgin Islands chapter. All the kids from Complex High School are out here with the youth aviation program.
The planes and pilots will be on St. Croix for 3 days, experiencing the culture until their departure on Saturday.
Saturday morning is really a great time if you wanted to come out to the airport and see a whole lot of planes flying in the air. It'd be a great time to come out.
Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
Now, if you want to catch some of the aerial activity, the Caribbean Air Rally planes will depart the territory on Saturday at the Henry Rolston Airport at 8 in the morning. Turn our attention overseas. A mother's Facebook message about the sexual assault of her daughter has started a worldwide conversation online. As Joe St. George reports, the Colorado woman says she's surprised by how many people relate to her experience.
In this 3-minute and 26-second video, Catherine St. Germain doesn't say a word, but her message has the whole world talking.
I had less than 200 friends on Facebook when I posted that video.
Since Friday, Catherine's Facebook video has received nearly 50 million views. Her post, the story of how her ex-husband, who she just married, sexually assaulted her 15-year-old daughter last year.
He was a former cop with 3 kids of his own. Why wouldn't you trust him with your kids? He was a psychopath.
We spoke with Catherine just hours after her ex was released from his 90-day jail sentence, and as media requests from around the world poured in.
Catherine's such a powerful video. I have been through the same thing.
But she says it's messages like this from survivors as far away as Africa that stunned her the most.
There was a woman who lives in Estes Park, which is a town not far from me, and she said that she felt completely alone and isolated until she saw the video, and she thought to herself, she doesn't live that far from me. I'm really not alone. And that just made my whole day.
April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and Catherine hopes her video helps more people recognize the signs.
He bought her extravagant gifts. He always wanted to take her for ice cream if she was sad.
The viral video features the song Yesterday by her favorite group, the Beatles. And while ultimately it's tough today for Catherine to forget her yesterdays, she says it's important to keep living.
It's okay to not give up on love. It's okay to get remarried. It's okay to take those chances, but do it with conscientious education.
Meanwhile, keeping our eye on the economy, let's take a look at the stock market watch at the New York Stock Exchange. Taking a look at the numbers there, we can see everything up. The Dow 187, NASDAQ 75, S&P 500 up at 20. Coming up on News 2, we have much more straight ahead. Our Carnival Corner, the St. Croix Chamber of Commerce, they hosted a ribbon-cutting ceremony for the grand opening of Christiansted's newest restaurant. Plus, the Lieutenant Governor, Oswald Potter, announced a new Reaching initiative targeting some young learners. Details coming up. Welcome back. As we shared last night, on Tuesday afternoon, Lieutenant Governor Oswald Potter announced a new Reaching initiative targeting some young learners. According to the Lieutenant Governor, the initiative is needed to remedy any reaching challenges that can impact children later in life. Here's more. Lieutenant Governor Oswald Potter and other administrators revealed Tuesday the details of a summer pilot program that is focused on getting students to read at grade level.
There were statistics that came from us from every direction that indicate that if an individual cannot read properly by the third grade level, it's basically an indicator that they potentially can be incarcerated or get in contact with the law. The statistics are against them.
Working under the Children's Defense Fund's Freedom Schools program, the students will be involved for 6 weeks in a customized curriculum centered on reading.
125 students. 50 on St. Thomas, 50 on St. Croix, 25 on St. John. This is 150 students that would be exposed to this opportunity, and we can, with that 150 students, see if this is something that makes sense going forward.
It kicks off June 25th at 5 school sites across the territory. Training has already taken place for some key people involved. The program will be overseen in the territory by Executive Director Lisa Hasselford.
That at the end of this program, our children are energized, that we don't pick just children who already know how to read, but we're going to have 3 levels: our low-functioning students, our mid-level students, and our high-functioning students. And we're going to take all of these students in one site, and we're going to make them love the written word.
Potter says a public-private partnership involving his office has taken place with the Education Department, the Community Foundation of the Virgin Islands, and key donors.
We look forward to what this is going to bring, not only for these children, but for the territory overall.
That the donations that they made will be exclusively used for the purposes that they wanted, which is supporting freedom schools, supporting early childhood education, supporting literacy for our youngest children.
Now, CFVI is the fiscal administrator. Potter said that any funds, again, that come in for the pilot will not go into the general fund of the government, but will instead go directly to CFVI and be used, according to President D. Baisha Brown, exclusively for Freedom School. Count on 2 to keep you updated. National Volunteer Week kicked off on Sunday, April 10th and ends on Saturday, April 16th. Started in 1974 by President Richard Nixon, National Volunteer Week is an initiative dedicated to inspiring, recognizing, and encouraging people to seek out imaginative ways to engage in their communities. Locally, the Virgin Islands National Guard is celebrating the countless contributions of approximately 100 volunteers to its readiness and effectiveness. Its ceremonies, they're scheduled throughout the territory. The first one will be held on St. Thomas on Thursday, April 14th at the Leonard B. Francis Readiness Center at 6:30 p.m. On St. Croix, it's on Friday, April 15th at the Joint Forces Headquarters Readiness Center at 5:30 p.m. The American Red Cross of the Virgin Islands also, they're honoring their volunteers and is inviting the community to join. You can call 774-0375 on St. Thomas or 778-5104 on St. Croix. Of course, the Red Cross responds to community disaster every 8 minutes, they say, providing shelter, food, emotional support, and other necessities to those affected. It provides 24-hour support to the members of the military, veterans, and their families. It's time for our Carnival Corner. Things are shaping up really nicely. Let's take a look at the schedule of events coming up. Next weekend, it's the Queen Selection Show at the Lionel Roberts Stadium. And then the young ones hit the red carpet for the Toddlers Derby on Sunday, April 17th at 5 p.m. That event also includes the Best Dressed Doll competition and the traditional games at the Lionel Roberts Stadium. On Monday, April 18th, the Roy Lester Schneider's Hospital's lobby area will be transformed for the annual pre-carnival celebration at 6 p.m. Tuesday, it's the Junior Calypso competition at 8 p.m. The young Calypsonians prove they are not too young to grace the stage with their talent and catchy tunes. Wednesday, it's Cultural Night. That returns. It begins at 8 p.m. Then the following day, April 22nd, it's the opening of Carnival Village, named Showtime HQ, honoring Jam Band at 6 p.m. at the Fort Christian parking lot. St. Croix Chamber of Commerce hosted a ribbon-cutting ceremony for the grand opening of Christiansted's newest restaurant, Balter. Now, Balter delivers the perfect combination of simple elegance, fresh, locally sourced ingredients, creatively composed by award-winning chef Digby Stradiron, a one-of-a-kind cocktails and wines selected by sommelier Patrick Krelick. Balter will be serving dinner Tuesdays to Saturdays, 6 to 10 p.m. and starting next weekend, Sunday brunch. Reservations are required. Now, every month, the Chamber recognizes a new business as a way of supporting St. Croix's economic growth. Here's more.
We have had such a great support from the community. The staff has been amazing. The grand opening went very, very well. We're just really excited to open up the courtyard today. I'm very excited to be a member of the Chamber of Commerce. They've done a great job. I respect every person on the board. I think that what they do and how they operate is how all of St. Croix should be operating. They are an example to lead by.
The cuisine here is all about time and place. So it's all about contemporary West Indian. So what we're trying to do is use seasonal ingredients with regional recipes. So what we've been doing over the last couple of years is just trying to redefine what is Crucian, what is West Indian food, and just paying homage to the people that live here.
Great job there. Here's some sports news. On Wednesday, 340 Boxing shared details of John Jackson's upcoming bout during a press conference that was held at the Windmill in Crown Bay here on St. Thomas.
It all gets started on May 21st. We have the pleasure of being part of an amazing 3-card title fight that will be broadcasted on Showtime Boxing. John Jackson will be fighting Mr. Jamel Charlo at the Cosmopolitan Hotel from the Las Vegas Strip for the WBC Junior Middleweight title, which is a vacant title currently that belonged to Floyd Mayweather but became vacant upon his retirement. Floyd Mayweather is the promoter of this fight, along with Mr. Tom Brown. So this is a huge event. We can't emphasize how major of a moment this is for John. John's record is 20 wins, 2 losses, excuse me, with 50 knockouts, okay? And his opponent, Jamel Charlo, his record is 27-0 with 12 knockouts.
You know, every fight I go into, I give my all. You know, even in the 2 losses with Willie Nelson and with Andy Lee, you know, I gave it my all, you know, every round, every second, and I'm doing the same. It's just the next fight, giving it my all, just like any other fight, you know. So, you know, look forward, and I'll bring back home the title.
Exciting news there. In other local news, sports news, the new VI Olympic logo was unveiled at Government House St. Thomas. And let's take a look at it right there on the screen. Stylized image of a colorful bird in upward flight. It's meant to convey hope and aspiration. Governor Kenneth Mapp expressed his strong support for the Virgin Islands Olympic team at a special Government House event to unveil that that 50th anniversary logo. Preparations are now underway for the Summer Games in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, where the new insignia will serve to proudly identify the territory's athletes and supporters. The USVI celebrates a half-century of participation in the Olympics, and the new logo design was created by the VI Olympic Committee in order to commemorate this special anniversary. Job well done there. Celebrity volleyball pro Gabrielle Reese, who grew up in the Virgin Islands, is going to be front and center in NBC's new fitness and weight loss show, Strong. Reese, along with the show's producer, Sylvester Stallone, appeared in The Ellen Show just a little earlier today, Wednesday, where they talked about the new show and what it's like working together. Reese, now 46 years old, and her family moved to the Virgin Islands when she was only 7 and attended a few schools, including Antilles and All Saints. She moved back to the mainland during her junior year and began seriously pursuing volleyball. Be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.